Welcome to Momentum Investing, property investing made easy. One of the world's top podcasts on property investing, bringing you the top experts in the field so you can learn firsthand what it takes to create passive income and take control over your financial future.
Welcome to the Momentum Investing Podcast. My name is Daniel Wood. I am your host for the episode here today. I am super excited about the episode, and I hope you are too, because we got Ben Chai back. I asked Ben to join us here today because a few weeks ago, we had him join us for the mastermind for the Momentum Property Education, like Inner Circle for our mastermind students. I had him come on and answer questions about how to build their property portfolio, how to build a larger portfolio, how to overcome challenges and setbacks. And it turned out most of our students were wondering about how to raise more finance, how to find new ways to raise finance. And Ben, it turns out, was in a situation where he actually had £3 million too much, okay? So he was in a situation where there were so many people who wanted to invest with him that he wasn't able to find enough good deals to satisfy the need. Now, this is a pretty good problem to have, and one I think we're all envious of. So we started asking, how could you get in this situation? How did you get so many people interested? And he shared a methodology of using social media to raise finance and a specific way of posting on social media that got this return, that built this trust, that built this rapport, and actually got people to want to invest with him. It takes time, and Ben has been investing for over 30 years, so this is not just a snap of the fingers kind of thing, but over time, this pays off. And as we've seen for Ben, it can pay off pretty handsomely. So I asked him to join us and share this with us here on the podcast, and thankfully, he said yes. So get ready to take notes. We're gonna learn a lot about raising finance through social media. Welcome to the Momentum Investing Podcast. We got a very exciting show for you today because we got a returning guest, Ben Chai. Welcome to the show again, Ben.
Hey, great to be here, Daniel.
Yeah, we're super happy to have you here. I had to ask you back because I just can't get rid of you. No,
like a virus.
It's hard. No, you came on. You were really helpful and helped me out and came on to one of our mastermind sessions. And you started talking with the members about how to raise finance. And you started sharing some brilliant strategies for raising finance through social media. And I knew everyone in the community would like to learn it. So I asked you to come back. And again, the generous person as you are, you decided to join us.
Do you know what this is?
Yes, that is a reindeer.
Close. No. This is a Santa ironing.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Of course, it's a Santa ironing.
For Christmas. Only comes out at Christmas. For ironing.
Is that the only time you iron your shirt?
There's a little story behind this. You see this front bit, which is pure clean. There's a bit of a little bit damaged there.
Right.
But
the part you use to iron the shirt. Yes, I'm familiar with the concept. Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah, I don't have like people to do it for me like you do, Daniel. But I do like the smell of crispy, lovely smelling sheets and shirts. So I kind of do all my ironing at Christmas.
Right.
The pile that I have to get through, and the bottles of wine that I have to just get through it, and the backlog of films is just amazing that I get through. Otherwise, it would just make me mindless, more mindless than I already am. Anyway, back in my university days, I'd borrowed somebody's iron, right? And gave it back to them, and when they had it back, they said, "Ben, you've damaged it." And I said, "What do you mean I've damaged it?" And they said, "Oh, it's black underneath," right? Now, I know that I had not damaged that iron. I know that it was like that before.
Right.
However, I bought them a new one.
Oh, that's nice of you.
And the reason is because of something at that time, because we didn't have the internet, called the Law of 250, right? So he really believed that I damaged it. I know that I hadn't, but I paid it back. And the Law of 250, which is actually exponentially worse than it is today, is based on a top salesperson called Joe Girard. Do you know who Joe Girard is?
I recognize the name. I haven't followed him though.
He was in the Guinness Book of World Records of selling the most used cars, and then he was in it again for selling the most used trucks.
Right.
And he was a terrible, terrible salesperson when he first started out. But he went to a wedding and he found that the person who was in charge of the wedding gave out 250 kind of like wedding, you know, these song sheets and so on. The same with when he went to I think it was someone's bereavement, you know, so he went to the church then, and again, 250. And he found out that no matter how many people were invited, roughly 250 people would turn up.
Right.
And he worked out that if you upset one person, you upset 250 people.
Right.
He also found out that if you make one person's life fantastic, 250 people would also know about it.
Right.
So I paid for the iron back, right? Because I didn't want to have bad karma shit in my life.
I get it.
Right. Now, why am I bringing this into social media? Because I know you've asked me this aspect of social media. There's a person that you and I both know who whether or not he scammed people, right? It came back and bit him in droves. So no matter what he put out there, maybe he changed, who knows? Maybe he became a nicer person. We don't know. But his past is still haunting him of people who believe they've been ripped off.
Yeah.
Joe Girard, as he grew in success, some people would say, you've agreed this deal with me.
Yeah.
And he hadn't. But wherever he could, he would try and accommodate them because he didn't want to have that.
Right.
And that's why, for me, if somebody feels bad and I've had a relationship in some way, I will do my best to fix it at my own cost.
Yeah.
Right? Really, really important. Now, this is the foundation of anything that you may want to do in social media. And you had an interview with a guy called Chris Cooper the other day, and you said there are two really important things, and one of them is your reputation. So you need to protect that reputation at all costs. Now, the person that we spoke about, the way he used to protect his reputation was to flood the internet with positive reviews, which either he made up or other people gave. Nobody really knows because it's the internet.
Yeah.
That's why you never really believe stuff on the internet. With these kind of positive reviews to try and hide all the articles about how he'd been taken to court and so on.
Yeah.
Right? But it always comes up eventually.
Yeah.
And people will have that. So in social media, the first thing you really, really want to do is make sure you've got rid of most of your skeletons. Just whatever way you can so that everybody's happy. Now, moving on to social media, right? You know you're a good person and you're trying to raise whatever resources from social media, right? So first of all, you have to have a presence. And most people don't, unfortunately, have a presence. They might have a Facebook account, or they might have an Instagram account, or they might have a LinkedIn, but they've never really used it.
Yeah.
They've never really filled the profile at the back. They've never really got a nice photograph of themselves, which is all the essential stuff you need to do before you even engage in social media, right?
Yep.
Now, I know people say, but Ben, get me to the juice. Tell me how to make and raise money on social media. But if I go to your social media, I will guarantee that I will find just really simple things that are wrong with your social media. And I know you've spent a lot of time getting your social media right, Daniel. So how was that? Just getting it right. How long did it take you just to do the basics before you even posted?
Well, honestly, it didn't take too long time, but it did. What took time was kind of the research behind it, going into other profiles of people that I knew had done a good job at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was very much just open to, for example, on Facebook, open two different windows, have one with someone you know has done this really well, and then just kind of copy and edit it to fit me. So I don't know, it might have taken an hour per profile, maybe.
Okay, so I like the way you're doing it, whereas most people would spend ages thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I kind of throw stuff at the wall, and then people like yourself come and tell me what I've done wrong, and then I fix it.
You see, that is the best way, not to think trying to get it perfect. Like, for example, I wanted a red wall behind me, but I don't know, I'd lost the red background. Just a whole bunch of things. Now that concept is called ready,
Fire, aim.
aim.
Yeah.
And that's the concept that you're using to deploy very quickly, whereas most people, they're trying to get everything perfect. And that's why it takes them so long. And that's why I asked you the question.
Yeah.
Because most people take forever. Oh, I need to get my good side on my photograph.
Well, for some of us, we just don't have a good side, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Or some people have just great sides, but they want it to be the best. Who knows, right? So you're absolutely right. But just so tip one from Daniel, yeah. Find somebody whose profile you like and just copy and paste and let people throw stuff at you, and over time get it better. Ready, fire, aim. Right, now with social media, as I said, we covered the law of 250 right at the beginning. The law of 250 does not apply to modern world. It could be 1,000 or 10,000 people you either attract or upset.
Repel,
Yeah. Because other people will see people engaging on your public profile and they will say, hey, don't approach that guy because this is what happened to me. Yeah. And that comes back to your interview with Chris about reputation being so important. It can literally lose you or attract you, thousands of dollars, or hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So when people do due diligence on you and your social media, then you really want to get it as not perfect, but as upfront as possible.
Yeah.
Now, I sell very close to the wind, as many people know. So there's some things that I do which may upset some people. Like I had some comedy people say quite very sexual jokes, which religious people, and I do have a lot of very wonderful religious people, or spiritual people as they like to be called, who are great friends of mine. So although I don't have issues with the actual jokes themselves, on my profile, I didn't have it 100% on my profile. So the video's there, but it's in the background. It's not on the front of my profile.
Right.
And if I lose some friends, okay, that's that, because I am who I am. So get your profile right. That's the first thing. Yeah. Don't put your exact birthday and so on social media, because you'll open yourself up to being hacked. So there's certain things that you should not tell the 100% truth on. Right. Like, for example, your birthday, right? How many banks? I don't know why they do that, but there's still the kind of the security is what's your birthday.
Right.
Right. Everybody can scan that on your social media.
Yeah.
So really sorry to say this, Daniel, but everyone says happy birthday to me, and it's the wrong day.
Wow, I did not know that. I think I've sent you birthday messages, and I'm doing it on the wrong day.
Yeah, but that's deliberate, because I'm protecting my own social media, my banking presence, right?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, I never even thought of that before. Good point.
Yeah, it's a bit like people who post, oh, I'm just flying to, and they show the airport and the flight that they're on and stuff like that. They've just told potential people that your house is empty.
Yep.
right? So again, like, these are just crazy things that people do in social media. You know, especially property investors. Oh, I'm just going over to XYZ, my property area, to make tons of money. And I'm just thinking, you've just made yourself open on your social media. You've just told some, there's not many bad people on this planet, but there are some, okay? So just be aware.
Smart about it, yeah.
Just be aware that social media is a dual component. Right. Now, I'm assuming that if you've got social media, you've got friends.
Hopefully one or two, yeah. It helps.
So, and over time you'll meet people and they can become your friends. So when you're developing your social media, you've got people often ask, shall I post on my personal profile or a business page?
Right.
Yeah. Now, I have a belief that you can have your business page and a personal profile, but most people will look at your personal profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's my experience too, and how Facebook does with their algorithm. Give me a sec.
Right. So while Daniel's dealing with his kids, your business page, which you can have, would have a lot of your property details if you're in property and you're trying to raise money. But you should also have this on your personal profile. And the reason that you have it on your personal profile is because really your friends live there. They don't necessarily go to your business page. I've had this recommendation to a lot of people in business, not just property, that they post at least one post about their business per week, or at least every 2 weeks. Now, I've had people who've taken my advice, and as a result, not immediately, but over a period of time, they've actually acquired new customers just by putting a post on their own personal profile. There was a lady who used to look after all the boilers for my portfolio in a certain area, and her profile used to just show pictures of her and her children and her family. And so if her kids were throwing up, she'd have like, oh, my kids have just vomited all over the place today. What's your thing? And I said, look, could you at least put one boiler that you fixed that week, or some educational information about repairing boilers on your social media? And she took my advice, and within 6 months she had 2 very large contracts as a result, because they saw it. Her friend saw it on her profile. Her friend isn't in charge of a big company, but she showed it to somebody else.
Right, that law of 250.
Yes, or several thousand now, because social media is very different to when Joe Girard was growing up. Absolutely. So even though your friends may not engage with you, they may have other people, or you may do something really crazy. So Daniel knows I'm a bit crazy. So I've got a property dance, right, which I did with a friend of mine, and it was actually a bet that if people could come up with 100 songs, it's 50 songs that were related to property. And if this group that we were a part of came up with that, then we would do a property dance, choreographed by me.
Of course.
Which they eventually managed to do. And anybody who made up songs were penalized.
Right.
So I would reduce the number of songs, so people would get angry with these people who would make up property songs, because I'd go to the internet. Yeah. So, for example, we built this city. We built this city on rock, and so that's related to property. Or if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. So that's related to property, right? Now so I would have these kinds of crazy things going on on my social media to always show that I'm in property. When I was mentoring my property team, every Tuesday was known as Tuesday Property a day, and I'd either have a property that we looked at, whether we bought it or not was totally irrelevant. Please do not put the address, just show the property. Okay.
Good point. Yeah.
Get permission, perhaps from the person who, if they're a friend that you're looking at their house, to say, may I put this on my social media? I won't show your blah, blah. So people knew that we were on property. They'd see that every Tuesday. It was just solidly Property Tuesday. Some people just post properties every day, but my personal profile, I just wanted to have a mix of myself and doing whatever it is I love doing and showing that I'm also in property. Daniel just does his business all the time. That's your choice. Doesn't really matter.
There's nothing more to me than the business. That's the problem.
That's fine. I don't have any issue with that. I'm just saying that if you have, like, this is my personal profile, I don't want to show my business and stuff, then you are losing out massively. And I've had a couple of people say, this is my personal profile, I'm not going to post anything about my business. And I don't want to talk to them anymore. I literally just think, okay, this is a stupid conversation. I've run media businesses in my life. I've been an editor of a lot of magazines. Now you're talking rubbish to me. Yeah, I want to be able to post.
I agree. I mean, we get lots of clients from social media. It works wonders.
I'm actually talking about this personal profile. They said, I've got my business page. I'm going to do it there. Yeah. You cannot disassociate the two. Sorry.
Agreed.
Yeah. Just can't do that. So that's one thing you have to understand. Now, if you don't want your friends seeing what you're doing, and I get that because maybe you're in security, cyber security, or you're in a financial
and then one thing we get a lot, one kind of argument that we get when we're coaching our mentorship students and telling them it's time to start posting, is that sometimes they have their boss on social media. They don't want to tell their boss that they're also running this other company.
Right.
So that's a problem. Obviously, I try to be transparent in everything. So my advice is usually go tell your boss that you're investing. And most of your colleagues are buying stocks or buying mutual funds. You're just buying houses. It's really the same thing.
Yeah, so the way I would handle that exactly the way that Daniel said, I wouldn't say you've got a company or anything. You just say that you're investing in property.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to develop other income streams, and that's it. Some bosses may have an issue if you say you're running a company, because they'll think, okay, well, you don't really have much for our business. And if you've had a sick day or ill or something's gone wrong, they may say, well, you're doing that because you've got another business. So I would just say, I'm investing. And I like to share what I'm doing with people. I like to share the education I'm going through. Is it okay if I tell people about my investments in properties and stocks and the shares? Now, I know you may not be, sorry, for the Swedish people, I understand you may not be investing in stocks and shares, but one day you may. So just say, are you okay with me sharing what I'm investing? Now, the reason I'm saying to do that is because why is it okay for you to share about your stocks and shares, but not your property?
Yeah.
And by saying stocks and shares, it pre-frames what you're posting to your boss.
Yeah.
There are industries where you actually shouldn't post some of this stuff. So I've mentioned the financial industry and the cybersecurity business. So I've had friends like that who've been in these industries. And what I suggest that they do is either they have a different profile. So for a long time, I was called Pylon, P-Y-L-O-N.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
And that's because I was working in security, right? And they don't like you to have any major personal profile. Okay? So that's why I had this kind of different name. I'm not in cybersecurity.
Yeah, no, I have an old friend of mine. She's a psychologist. And so she didn't want her patients finding her on social media and stuff, because obviously if she was out for, a dinner or a party or something, and then her clients see that, it might, be weird. So she actually had her name spelt backwards,
Right.
her social media name.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you've got a business partner, like your a lot of people work with a significant other, for example, then have all of your deals being posted by your significant other. That's another way around it. Yeah. So it's almost like, hey, that's what they do. I'm in cybersecurity or finance.
Yeah, exactly. That's my partner's business, their thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yeah.
part of that. Yeah.
And obviously they tag me because, like, why wouldn't they? We're a family.
We're a couple. Yeah.
Family
We're a
unit,
family.
yeah. So have it on their social media and have you tagged on that. That's another way.
Quick question. Obviously, I know the answer to this question, but I think it's a good thing to get it out. Just clear. You're saying don't just do the business page, do the private page. Why not do the business page? What is your...
No, I'm okay with people doing the business page.
Right.
I think that's fantastic when people are doing due diligence on who you are, and it just makes you seem a bit bigger. But I don't want you to get locked down into doing a business page and a personal profile, because social media can be quite heavy in terms of posting and making it work. Sorry?
Agreed. It does take time. And I mean, for me, one of the reasons we see is it's kind of like you said, more people engage with your personal profile than they do with your business page.
Yeah.
So, you get, and that's how the Facebook algorithm works. They don't expose a page as well as they do your personal profile.
Oh, absolutely right. Yes. And apparently they would expose your business profile a lot more if you paid Facebook some money.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, Facebook has provided a platform for you to do tons of extra things. So anyway, I'm just don't like spending money, I guess. Like most wealthy people. So we like investing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of the essentials for social media. Now, I've said like post regularly. So the next question is, I haven't looked at a house this week. So post stuff like, I was watching this video on property. I learned 3 things here. Or here are 4 things I learned from going to an estate agent. Or I screwed up here. This is what I did wrong. Or some of the posts I used to do when I was posting the houses is I would post some pictures and I'd say, hey guys, what do you think? Do you think this is a good buy or a bad buy? Right? And like people who don't invest in property would engage anyway because it's social media. These kinds of stuff, and then you can reply and you can have an engagement, and over time people see what you're doing. Yeah. So I won't say that if somebody's...
What do you recommend you write? What do you do? I mean, how do you get people in? How do you get them to engage? Because I remember you saying, don't post the picture of like, look how great I am, look at my nice new car, the bragging post. More, how do you go about it?
I think that maybe that works in maybe the States if you do the bragging posts, but it really doesn't work so well in the UK. And I don't think it does in Sweden because of what's it called? Vantelagen?
Yeah, jantelagen.
Jantelagen, yeah.
No, that kind of bragging is never appreciated.
So in probably most of the Scandinavian countries, actually, the whole jantelagen kind of scenario. So
I think a lot of Europe is that way too overall. I mean, Scandinavia is maybe worse in many cases, but I think it's, as you say, the UK. I think it's the same in Germany. No one wants to see someone go, hey, look how awesome, and I'm the best. Look at me.
Are you sure the Germans are like? Never mind. Anyway, so just because maybe that kind of these like, hey, I'm making this amount and showing the fast cars and so on is not a good thing to do. Plus, most of it is a lie anyway. If people are posting, it's social media. Literally, I can tell you the number of people that when I found out later on that actually they have nothing. Yeah. So social media is a lie. So don't do it. There's no point. Yeah.
Well, it's as you said, it always comes out in the end. I remember a great post explaining that it was a picture of an apple in front of a mirror, And so the mirror is what you kind of see on social media. Well, you didn't see the front of the apple was, this perfect, gorgeous red apple, and that's what's mirrored in this mirror. But the back half was rotten with
Worms coming out.
Worms coming out, and that's kind of the
Correct.
side that you don't see on social media. But
Yeah.
as you say, sooner or later, if you're keep telling everyone that you and your life is that perfect red apple, sooner or later they'll see the worms, and it will just be that much worse.
Yes, and that's that reputation side coming out again. I think again, you perhaps in your interview with Chris, I know you were talking about raising money and stuff, but that reputation is so important.
Yeah,
really important.
Well, that's the whole basis of it. No one's, people want two things when they're going to give you money. They want to trust you and they want to like you.
Mm.
And your reputation builds the foundation of both of those things.
Yeah. And that's why I actually, if I don't like cats, but if I did have cats, I would probably post something about a cat on my profile just to show I'm human.
Right. Yeah, we got 2 cats at home.
Yeah, but you don't post about cats.
I don't post.
So I'm just saying, if you like posting about some of your personal life, I have no problem with that. I know some business coaches say, oh, you should just have all just business on your profile. I totally disagree with that. And I've helped a number of people who just go on about their daily life, but they just post a little bit about what they're doing and show that education.
I think that's important too, to show that you're a real person. Now, I don't post a lot of regular stuff, but my family usually does, and they'll tag me. And so it comes up on my profile, and people see that I don't just sit and work all day. I actually have a family.
Yeah.
And it does make you
He really does sit and work all day. Don't listen to him, everybody.
But it makes you a more well-rounded person. It makes people see that you actually
He's not well-rounded, everybody. He used to when he played baseball. But
yeah, I lost that round. Now
with all his businesses, with Kim Kiyosaki, with and the game and translating it to Swedish, plus his property investing education, plus his own portfolio, it's very difficult.
Oh, I feel sorry for me, people. It's a tough life. Sometimes you got to say, it's as the interview. I don't remember who told me this, but it was an interview that was done with. He was the CEO and founder of an airplane manufacturing company, and he was like 70 years old, and he was still working like 70 hours a week. And there was an interview, and they're like, well, you're such a workaholic. How can you work so much? And the man just said, no, you know what? Honestly, I've never worked a day in my life. Like, what are you talking about? First off, we're working right now. He's like, well, no, I mean, when I was a kid, I loved playing with little airplanes. When I got a little older, I started building model airplanes. When I was in college, I built model rockets. And today, all I do is I build airplanes all day. I'm still just playing around like when I was a kid. So, sometimes it is work, but sometimes it's play.
This is why I'm terrible to be on interview platforms, because I just say these things. So back to social media. Love it. So I'm looking forward to your next business, building rockets, Daniel.
Yes, of course. How hard can it be? It's just rocket science.
Now, over time, your social media will gain traction. I'm often saying to follow one of my business partners, Peter No, spelled NGO, rather than KNOW, although he is very knowledgeable and he does know tons of stuff. But his surname is spelled NGO. And if you want to see the kinds of posts that I would recommend you post, then follow Peter, because what we do is we post a lot of educational information. Even the properties, when I was posting them, it would contain a lot of educational information just looking at the property. Or I would post a picture of some walls that I'd written on in a dilapidated property that we were renovating. And I would kind of, behind on the wall, I'd have like love and happiness and just embedding kind of positive words in the walls of the property. So just, even if it's insane stuff, right? Put it there because it's engaging.
Yeah.
It's more engaging than someone showing the keys all the time and I know why they're doing this, saying, hey, look, property investing is good, but actually property investing isn't for everyone, right? I would far more prefer that people just invest their finances in me and my team, right? Because we'll look after their investments much better than they would if they were property investors.
Yeah, I know, and I agree in many ways. I think the posts I checked out after you were on the mastermind. I checked out Peter's profile, and I really liked that every post, it was never a look at me. It was never a look how awesome I am. It was all, oh yeah, I just had, this is how I use Zero for my bookkeeping.
Exactly.
You don't want to have all this problem at the end of the year where you have to find 1 million receipts. Just do these 6 steps and that will never be a problem again. And it was lots of posts like that, and it inspired me. I made a post right after where it was on a property that we didn't buy, and I got some pictures because my partner was there with our surveyor and did a viewing, and because of her we found that the building was basically falling apart. She found issues. And so I could post that post and kind of say, look, this is why you always bring a surveyor to a viewing. And I could tell the story, and the story is actually about how I spent £400 to not buy a deal. And some people might go, that's wasted money, that's a loss, but it was a lesson learned, and it was a deal avoided thanks to her.
Yes, because if you'd have gone through with a deal, you would probably lost angel investors' money. And this is why it's fantastic for people who are looking to invest with you, and they will never tell you that they're looking to invest with you.
Yeah.
Some people have come out like 5, 7, 8 years after, because I've been in property investing ages, and said, I've been following you for a while, Ben. Oh, yeah. Can I ask you a question? Yeah, sure. What would you think is the best way to invest some money here? Oh, well, try this and this. What about if I asked you to invest it for me? Right. Yeah. So some, you don't know who's following you. You just don't. That's why I'm saying over time, get and develop friends in your real life. Yeah. I don't mean just social media life. Yep. Now, it may be that you can attract some people who will invest with you just through social media, but they're less likely than people who you know. Yeah. One thing that a lot of the Daniel's Momentum property investment broadcast talks about is paying things forward. I think it was at your Jordan interview or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was. We've done it in multiple, but yeah, Jordan Harbinger talked a lot about that. He is a super networker.
So you really want to, and by the way, all of this is in my TED talk as well. So
we'll give Jordan the credit, but really, it's all about Ben. Just saying.
Which the TED talk was 2 years before that interview with Jordan. But anyway, let's not get into this ego battle here.
We'll have to just do another 20 interviews with Ben so we can get it all out there. And
let's get it all out.
He deserves.
Let's put it out there. But you really want to start helping people and giving value, moving forward in your social media. And again, as I said, have a look at my very old posts on property, or better to be current, follow Peter now. And where he's paying a lot of things forward. He's showing you, whether you're in business or not, that here's the best accountancy software. He's sharing, like recently we were talking about file management, because if you're in property or any kind of business or career, you're constantly thinking, where shall I put things on my hard disk? Yeah. So he'll talk about retro programs and new programs to help you. Notice that, I know you're thinking, shall I just post about houses or property education I've been on? But he's sharing about the whole, looking at it from a whole picture, like not just properties, but estate agents and engaging with them, lenders, as well as software that you can use for your business, or education that you've been on, or an interaction that you've had. You don't need to mention the name. You could just say, hey, I had this chat, and here's some things to avoid when working with XYZ.
No, brilliant, brilliant. So now the kind of final question here that I have is, if you've done this, you start posting, you post this kind of educational posts that, or that where people are like, if you're just starting out, how they can follow along on your journey, how you're doing, starting your company, how that worked, and your lessons. And then, it's going to take a while. It takes 3 to 12 months, I think, before you really start getting
Absolutely.
traction.
Yeah.
What happens next? So what happens when someone reaches out and says, "Hey, Ben, I followed you for a while." How do you kind of take that and then, move them actually to become a real investor?
Well, so remember, we're talking about raising finance. We're
Yeah.
not talking about actually being an investor in property.
No, exactly. But I mean, if
So
I'm
you want to be a
following you-
property investor.
Yeah,
So,
but if I come to you and kind of go, "Ben, I followed you for a while. I'm super
yeah,
interested. Could I give you some money?"
right.
What happens now?
Right, and I'd see if I've got some deals available for them to invest in,
Yeah.
or if I don't. So recently we've had to say actually we don't have sufficient deals. They're fully engaged. We pay between this amount and this amount depending on how much you invest and how long for.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of things. First of all, they'll want to know certain aspects like how you're going to protect their money. Right, really, really important. Now, you don't need it, but it gives them some security inside.
Yeah.
Right. We protect people's money by underwriting it,
Right.
either with the property that you're buying, or once you've got a certain portfolio, then you can use your portfolios as collateral. Again, watch Daniel's interview with Chris, where Chris is saying, "Hey, I'm going to interview you on 25 ways to raise capital," but Daniel only talks about 3 or 4 anyway. But they're the main ones, right?
Yeah, we talked about the different ways. Sadly, Chris didn't give me enough time to go through all 25.
Well, because you added so much value that he really should invite you back 3 or 4 times to get to.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I'm good for 20 interviews.
Exactly. Well, now he's heard me say the same thing.
So I'll send him this, and then maybe
exactly do that. Yeah, but what Daniel said is very important in there. Yes, to understand that people are concerned about the money that they'll give you. Normally, they will offer you something much less than they have available. Yeah. So we've had somebody go from 20 to 50 to 230, and now today they said, "Look, I've got just under $1 million, but I want some of the action."
Right.
So
and that started with a £20,000 investment. All of a sudden, now we're talking $1 million.
They are, well, it's just under $1 million. They always had a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they just didn't. Why would they want to commit when they don't really know what you're like?
Yeah.
So over the journey, we paid them when we said. They had great communication with us. We always letting people know. By the way, this is the worst thing that you can do, is just take their money and not tell them what's going on.
Yeah, just disappear.
Yeah. You might give them, interest at the end of the year. You might be fantastic and you're honorable about it. But if you take them on the journey with you, yeah. This is what creates longevity. And this is what makes them think, yes, well, I've been with Daniel or Johnny or Ben or whoever for a while, and they've always let me know what's going on.
Yeah.
They've let me know some of the challenges. Like we had one of our major deals. We had a lot of challenges with that. We let our investors know. I mean, they feel secure anyway because they've got security on it. But we've always communicated with them. And so if we think there's going to be a problem, like, for example, they're only going to be investing, we've got a contract for them to invest with us for 11 months, and we can see a potential problem, we'll let them know in advance that, hey, we may not be able to pay you back on the 11th month. Is this going to be a problem? Yes, in terms of your entire capital. Because if it's going to be a problem, we will find an alternative way of dealing with it straight away.
Yeah.
So we know when our problems are going to happen, and normally it happens with builders or planning. I'm just letting you know.
Well, and I mean, property is slow too, so it's not like something comes in as a shock and like, oh no, it got delayed. You know, things kind of tend to take time. You can see it 3-6 months ahead of time that, oh, wait a sec, we're not on schedule anymore.
Yes. So communication is really important. Throughout your communication, always let them know in advance. Now, back to Daniel's question. So what do you tell them? First of all, you say, okay, well, what we need to do is we need to agree some terms. Yeah. What are you looking for?
Yeah.
So ask them how much do they want to invest and what they're looking for. And they might say, well, I want 12% on interest. And you might say, well, I'm sorry, I'm not that kind of person. I can offer you 5% or 3%, depending on your deal. So just let them know up front.
Yeah.
And if they say, well, I'll probably go somewhere else, that's fine. That is
What I say is, if someone comes in, it's expensive money, you know that. You put it to the side. And if you need money if you have a deal that fits that type of money, then you call them back and say, hey, I'm
exactly
you 12% now. But right now, no, I don't want it. I want my 5% money.
Yeah. And we would say exactly that. Like if we have a deal that can support it later on, we'll come back to you, but this is what we can do. And this is what we do with most of our customers who are fantastic. Yeah. Now, you may not have some investors, and normally if you can, go to your friends and family first, right? Now, if you don't want to go to your friends and family, I would ask you why. Yeah, because if you think you're going to mess up and lose their money, then
maybe you shouldn't be taking someone else's either.
Yeah, that's right. Because like I said, your reputation is always going to come back on you. And that's why you really want to be working with mentors and coaches, but it's still at the end of the day, the responsibility is yours.
100%.
Yeah, no matter who you're working with. So
I love this. I'm sorry, we got to cut it off now, but I know everyone wants to learn more from you. So if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to get access to more of your brilliance, where do they go? How do we learn from you?
Well, first of all, follow Peter Knows.
I'll link to everything you say now. I'll link to in the show notes. So I'll link to Peter's Facebook.
Peter's taken everything I've ever taught him to a totally different level. Yeah, he's just amazing. So please follow his posts. Yeah, understand that you're not going to get finance after 3 months, but probably around that time. Deal with friends and family first. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you want to get hold of me, follow me on Facebook, send me a message on Facebook or LinkedIn. So it's just Ben Chai on LinkedIn. Instagram, it's Ben Chai Official.
All right. And again, I'll link to all these in the show notes.
Great.
Awesome. Well, Ben, thank you so much for today.
Me and my iron,
your Santa iron, our new mascot for the show.
Hey, do we have a few minutes for me to sing you a song? I saw somebody's post on property the other day, and they said they've bought a car park in Gloucester City. They've got 3 flats. They've got 2 shops, and they're a 5-bed HMO.
Wow!
And I saw it, and I thought, I'll make a song about it.
Well, we got to hear this. Yes, go for it.
Right. This, by the way, is part of you engaging, just doing crazy stuff, joining property groups or other groups, and just. So
well, we might cut this part out of the show and use this as social media posts. This is now going to be the commercial for this episode.
All right.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, here we go. Okay. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a car park in Gloucester City. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 retail shops and a car park in Gloucester City. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 small flats, 2 retail shops, and a car park in Gloucester City. On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4-tier lockdown, 3 small flats, 2 retail shops, and a car park in Gloucester City. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a 5-bed HMO, 4-tier lockdown, 3 small flats, 2 retail shops, and a car park in Gloucester City. That was it. But that was literally everything they had in their portfolio.
That was perfect.
So it just shows you a kind of social media post that engages with people.
Yeah, no, that's much better than just saying, we bought this, it has this. That makes it a lot more fun. So yeah, there is the commercial for this episode. Oh, that was awesome, my man. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. And of course,
thank you, everyone.
Recorded with that brilliant song. So be ready to hear that a lot. That is going to haunt him forever now. So stay tuned. I got some more news for you in a moment. Thank you so much for listening. And Ben, again, thank you so much for joining us as always.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you so much for joining us. I always appreciate you spending this time to learn with us and grow together with us. So thank you so much for spending this time. Isn't Ben amazing? Please let him know that by commenting on this post or giving us a 5-star rating. It really helps us reach more people and let more people learn these amazing lessons from speakers just like Ben, like Kim Kiyosaki, Jordan Harbinger, and these amazing people we've had on the show. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. Now, next week we have a very exciting pair of guests, 2 sisters who started out investing together and have started growing a property portfolio. I asked them on because they happen to be Momentum Property Education students and have proven that this works for regular people. You don't have to have done this for 30 years and basically been born into it like Ben. You don't have to be a property expert. You don't have to have a background in property to start out. Now, these 2 sisters came together with no background from property and are totally smashing it. And in this episode coming out next Tuesday, they're gonna show you exactly what they've done, how they've done it, and how they're growing their portfolio. It was an amazing episode. Susanna and Cecilia are joining us. They will share, if you wanna start your property journey just like they did, you can go to www.momentumgift.com. There we have a free course, the 3 simple steps to property investing, and we'll show you what you need to do in order to succeed as Cecilia and Susanna are doing. So please go to momentumgift.com, join that course. It's completely free. You'll learn the 3 simple steps to property investing and the 3 most common mistakes new investors make and how to avoid them. So thank you so much again for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these shows. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon.